Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome, dear students. I'm again with you, Dr. Ajay Semalti from HNB Gadwal University, Central University from Srinagar, Gadwal, Uttarakhand. So, in the series of our lecture on novel drug delivery systems, today we are here with the last part of the pulmonary drug delivery systems, in which we will be discussing inhalers and evaluation. So far, we have discussed the concept of NDDS, targeting polymers, and then we started with the pulmonary drug delivery systems. We studied with the component systems, and now in the last part we'll be discussing the inhalers and evaluation of the pulmonary drug delivery system. After completing this module, you will be able to know about the most common types of aerosol inhalers and understand or learn the evaluation of aerosols. We'll cover the entire lecture in two major heads: types of aerosol inhalers and evaluation of aerosols. There are three types of aerosol inhalers. What we say them, they are meant for delivering the drug directly to the site of action. So they are of three types. These aerosol inhalers: meter dose inhalers, MDIs; small volume nebulizers, SVN; dry powder inhalers, DPIs. So MDI, SVN and DPI. These three inhalers. Always remember this name. Many times it is asked in the examination. From exam point of view, they are very much important, and you have to learn about these inhalers thoroughly when you are especially addressing the pulmonary drug systems. Okay. Let's see this diagram of meter dose inhaler. As we can see, it is a canister. On top you can see, then gas phase is there. Actually it is inverted and then inhaled from the you can say, or to the mouth. Formulation is there and it is pressed, and retaining cup is there, actuator is there, metering wall, this is a metering wall is there, metering chamber is there. As you can see that in this part, can you see this part, metering wall? Yeah, here this metering wall is the key of this delivering system. It has the metering chamber, this metering chamber. Okay, this metering chamber is the success of this meter dose inhaler. Whatever the drug comes into this meter chamber, it is delivered through the actuator and the expansion chamber, and the high velocity spray is achieved. Canister, metering wall, metering chamber and expansion chamber, these are the major components of the meter dose inhalers. 25 to 100 microliter or maybe sometimes 150 microliter of fused volume range can be delivered through MDIs. The dose is filled into the metering chamber and it is delivered, as we have discussed with that diagram also. So this inverted canister with the valve below it, this is in turn assists the gravitational refilling of valve. So due to gravitational force, the valve is refilled again, in that too in that metering chamber. These valves may differ in design. While we are moving to these small volume nebulizers, These are the devices which deliver solutions and suspension in the aerosol form capable to be inhaled into LRT, lower respiratory tract. There are three types of SVN: pneumatic jet nebulizer, ultrasonic nebulizer, and mesh nebulizer. Remember these names: pneumatic related to the water, ultrasonic, ultrasonic waves, mesh like system is there. So these are the, you have to learn these examples. Give your kind attention to this figure. This is the pneumatic jet nebulizer general diagram. Pneumatic means liquid based and jet means it is a pressurized airflow. So you can have an idea that what is happening here. There is a liquid reservoir there. Okay, this is the liquid reservoir here, and compressed gas source comes in, and this drug, this portion is nebulized. This pneumatic, it comes in pneumatic phase, and with the jet force, with the compressed gas source, it is uh, delivered to the patient. Okay, the delivery of compressed gas is done through a jet, entraining of product into the compressed gas stream, and then it leads to the product is shared into the liquid film, and this unstable film breaks into aerosol droplets. So you can, rather than writing into the sentences, you can prepare this type of flow chart and give a very nice and concise presentation. Okay, ultrasonic nebulizers. Electricity is used to generate the ultrasonic waves, and it converts a liquid into aerosols which can be respired or inhaled. You can see this diagram: acoustic waves are there, piezoelectric transducers are there. So with the power transducer, drug solution is converted into the aerosol. Okay. Now moving to the mesh nebulizer. What are the mesh nebulizers? They involve the use of a mesh or plate with multiple apertures to produce a liquid aerosol. So this is a standard, you can say, one of the commercial mesh nebulizers. DPIs, dry powder inhalers. These are one of the most widely used inhalers. They are small, portable, propellant-free, breath-actuated inhalers. These are breath-actuated inhalers. It means breathe that you are inhaling, your breathing is the driving force for inhaling that drug into the bronchi. So post-Montreal, they are basically the post-Montreal protocol inhalers, in which it was in 1989, if you remember, that we discussed with the propellant that the CFC, the chlorofluorocarbons, had the ozone depleting effect. So they were reported, so it was decided that we have to phase it out. So it was thought that why can't we avoid the propellant at all completely? Yes, we can with the help of DPIs. It means the dry powders can be inhaled with these devices. These inhalers are developed for phasing out these ozone destroying CFC propellants in MDIs, meter dose inhalers. DPIs are also used not only in the asthma, not only for the bronchitis, it is also used in insulin delivery. Various commercial respiratory sprays of insulin have also been approved by US FDA, named Exubra. What you are seeing, it is the Exubra in the figure, and ARX, and so many technologies are also there. So please search more examples like that and note them down. Okay. So just summarizing this section, that most common inhalers are three inhalers: MDIs, SVN. MDI stands for meter dose inhalers, SVN small volume nebulizer, DPI dry powder inhalers. So MDIs, inverted canister is there, metering valve is there, metering chamber is there, and expansion chamber is there. Okay. SVN, small volume nebulizer, pneumatic. Keywords you have to remember: pneumatic, ultrasonic, and mesh nebulizers. Okay. Apart from this, SVNs working on the pneumatic one, and the other are ultrasonic and mesh nebulizers. DPIs uh, are portable propellant-free breath-actuated inhalers. Now it's the time to move to the evaluation to aerosols. So, hope, MDI, SVN, DPIs and SVN's classification. You must remember these things perfectly. Okay. When we are talking about any dosage form, any delivery system, we never skip how we can characterize them. That evaluation part. Now let's focus on the evaluation, on which parameter we should evaluate the aerosols. Number one is flammability and combustibility. Number two is physicochemical characteristics, performance, and then therapeutic activity. These are the four major evaluation parameters. In flammability and combustibility, two major tests are there: flame projection and flash point. What is the flammability and combustibility? Propellants are actually they are fire catching. Okay, they what you can do in the flame projection test, that you see the what we do, that we see the effect of aerosol on the extension of an open flame after exposure of spray for 4 seconds in flame. As you can see in this figure, that we are pressing that actuator and allowing the spray to come for 4 seconds, and then to a open flame it is exposed. That how much it is extended, how far it is extended, it is measured. Say for example here 30 centimeter is there, so film projection is 30 centimeter. Okay. Flammability and combustibility. Flash point or tag can be evaluated, can be determined in tag open cup apparatus that you are seeing in this figure. What happens there here, that we chill the aerosol to minus 25 degree Fahrenheit, transfer to the test apparatus, then slow increment of temperature is done. Vapor ignition temperature is noted as flash point. Okay, when the vapor ignites, this point you have to note. This is called flash point. Other physicochemical characteristic can also be evaluated and can be taken as a evaluation parameter, like vapor pressure can be easily evaluated through the pressure gauge, density can be evaluated by the hydrometer or pycnometer, moisture content by Carl Fisher method, and identification of propellant can be done by the infrared spectroscopy. Performance. Now it's the time to evaluate the performance evaluation of aerosols. So what are the official tests? Official means which are mentioned in some pharmacopoeia, either IP or the USP, Indian Pharmacopoeia or United States Pharmacopoeia. So just you must know at least the names. Okay. However, any of a particular one, any of these may be asked in examination in detail. Number one, aerosol wall discharge rate or delivery rate, delivered dose uniformity, net contents, minimum fill, leakage, and particle size distribution. And in net contents and minimum fill are more or less similar, and in two different pharmacopoeias they are mentioned in maybe in different names. Now taking the first one, aerosol wall. As per the United States Pharmacopoeia, aerosol wall discharge rate or delivery rate, it can be determined by taking an aerosol of known weight, discharging the contents for given time using standard apparatus, that by reweighing the container after time limit has expired, the change in the weight per time dispensed is discharge rate, and it is expressed as gram per seconds. Okay, so this is the standard United States Pharmacopoeia prescribed test. Delivered dose uniformity. How much uniformity is there in the delivered dose? It is evaluated in this. To determine the amount of medication actually received by a patient, the evaluation of dose uniformity is done, and the method involves accurate weight of filled container followed by dispersing of several doses. Container can is reweighed, and difference in weight divided by number of doses gives the average doses. So by this way you can have an idea that in each dose how much amount is being delivered. and how much uniform the delivered dose is. Now, what is the acceptance criteria for the nasal spray by the USP? Not more than 2 of the 20 doses in this dose uniformity test, delivered dose uniformity, not more than 2 of the 20 doses outside the range of 80 to 120% of label claim, and none are outside the range of 75 to 25% of label claim, while the mean of each of the beginning and end doses falls within the range of 85 to 115% of label claim. So you will accept only those, only accept in these conditions, and it will render as passed. For the further, if 3 to 6 doses of the 20 doses collected are outside this limit, 20 to 120% of label claim, but none are outside the 75 to 125% of label claim, and the means for each of the beginning and end doses fall within 85 to 115% of label claim, then select 20 additional containers for second tier testing. Okay, in that case you will have to select again 20 additional containers. But now, what is the second tier testing? For second tier testing, the requirements are met if not more than 6, remember, not more than 6 of the 60 doses collected are outside the range of 80 to 120% of the label claim, and none are outside the range of 75 to 125% of label claim, and the mean each of the beginning and end doses fall within the range of 85 to 115% of label claim, then it will be accepted. Then it will be rendered as passed. So what is the homework? Check the acceptance criteria for delivered dose uniformity for MDIs and DPIs in the same way. This is the small assignment, you can say. You just go through the pharmacopoeia as we have discussed for SVNs. For nasal sprays, you please do it for MDIs and DPIs. Okay. Now, delivered dose uniformity for MDIs and DPIs. Unless otherwise specified in the individual monograph, the requirement for dosage uniformity are met if not less than 9 of the 10 doses are between 75 and 125% of the specified target delivered dose, and none is outside the range of 65 to 135% of the specified target delivered dose. Why we have make it underquote? Because it is the specific verbatim language of the United States Pharmacopoeia. So whenever we are quoting it, it means that we are verbatim quoting to that particular source. Okay, this is by the United States Pharmacopoeia. So this is the official one, and the words must be reproduced as such when we are talking about the official books or official documents. Now, what is the general sampling procedure? As per what is by the USP, United States Pharmacopoeia? USP says that use mechanical means of actuating delivered dose for collection. Actuation force, actuation speed, stroke length, rest periods, like parameters must be controlled. It means in which force. It should not vary, that you are sometimes you are pushing the actuator with the hardly you are pushing, sometimes softly. Actuation speed, stroke length, okay? Rest periods, how much rest you are giving from one dose to another dose to the actuator, how much time you are waiting. So these parameters must be controlled. Otherwise the data may vary, the result may vary. The test must be performed on units that have been primed according to the patient use instructions. Okay. For suspension products, the delivered dose should be delivered in scintillation vial. Okay. Always remember these points when you are taking the samples for these evaluation parameters. Now moving to the net contents, a minimum fill. Wait fill full container after removing labels and cleansing outer surface. What you will have to do, you will have to remove all the labels, cleanse it, and then weigh the container and take 10 containers like this. Remove all the contents now. What are the content inside it? Remove all the content. Heat them at 100 degrees Celsius for 5 minutes. Then reweigh all the containers individually. The difference in weight will be the net fill weight. Okay. Simple terms. You will have to follow exactly like this for ensuring the minimum fill. What is the acceptance criteria? Now, how USP states that for accepting the test, for passing this test, what should be the condition? The requirements are met if the net weight of the contents of each of the 10 container is not less than the labeled amount. Simply, this is the acceptance criteria for this minimum fill. Now, leakage. As you might have seen that aerosol, actually aerosol is the only dosage form in which manufacturing and packaging is integral part. In any other dose form you take, you go for the tablet, capsule, suspension, and other, even for the other NDDS, the packaging is different and manufacturing different. Here the packaging is integral part of manufacturing. You will have to completely prepare it. Okay, so that's why you might have seen that when it is the only thing, when it is the only manufacturing method, you might have seen in both the method, in the pressure filling and the cold filling, the last test was the leakage. You last step was leakage. Okay, you were checking the leakage. So that the test is used to estimate the weight loss over a 1 year period. Perform this test only on topical aerosols fitted with continuous walls. This test is in addition to the customary inline leak testing of each container. Remember this thing, we have mentioned that inline leak testing is done for each and every thing, but it is in addition to that. So you refer the USP for the, you will have to refer to your United States Pharmacopoeia for the detailed version of these evaluation parameters. Particle size distribution. The particle size is generally evaluated using cascade impactor, and this impactor particles are carried in a stream of air through a series of consecutively smaller jet openings. Particle size are very important when we are taking it through a pulmonary route or through a mucosal route, because the smaller particles have shows the good absorption. Okay, and have the good spreadability, but the larger particles may irritate. So they are the particle range which are approved by the US FDA for delivering the drug through the pulmonary route. So pulmonary delivery systems have a direct correlation with the particle size distribution. The heavier and larger diameter particles are impacted on a slide under the larger opening in the cascade impactor, and as the opening gets smaller, this opening gets smaller in this cascade impactor, the velocity of the stream increases like jet, and the next larger particle are deposited on the next slide. So by this way, the particle size distribution is measured in the cascade impactor. Moving to the therapeutic. Now we have discussed the physicochemical parameters, we have discussed the performance parameters or performance-based evaluations. We talked about the particle size, that how they are important. When we are discussing the evaluation part of aerosol, you must enlist all types of evaluation when from exam point of view, and then detail it one by one, because it might be very it might not be uh, time saving to give the detail of each and everything. So you will have to learn the things on tips verbatim, especially the official definitions and official evaluation test acceptance criteria. Okay, now moving to the therapeutic activity, that by standard in vivo test and pharmacological models we perform the therapeutic activity of the aerosols. For assessing inhalers, specially designed insufflators are used to deliver powders or solution to test animals. Gamma scintigraphy and single positron emission computer-aided tomography imaging techniques are used. For topical sprays, normally it is applied on test animals, and we can have an idea that what kind of therapeutic effect it is showing. For this, you can refer many books, but I have just mentioned a few books for your reference. Now, let me summarize what we studied in the pulmonary drug delivery systems. That pulmonary drug delivery systems, aerosols, we studied the definition, we studied the types of the aerosols, and the components of aerosols, the propellants, their mechanism, and what is the most important thing is there's nomenclature, three-digit nomenclature. You must remember the thing, okay, with particular examples. Chlorofluoro, what is the problem with the CFCs? It is always asked. And next thing is that components, then parts, wall, detailing about the wall, diagram of wall, meter, dose, inners. That meter wall diagram, you must please practice it in your home and try to redraw it. This will be very helpful. Sometimes only the diagram is asked, that draw the diagram of MDI or draw the diagram of meter wall. So you must be well versed with that thing, okay? And in this, particularly in this module, we discussed that what are the types of inhalers. Inhalers may be MDI, meter dose inhalers, small volume nebulizers, SVNs, and DPIs, dry powder inhalers. MDIs have got the metering chamber there, and each and every drug before each and every dose before delivering is filled into the meter chamber, and only that much amount of drug is delivered on a one shot. So this ensures the uniform dosing. And second is small volume nebulizers. They may be of three types. Have you learned the things? Please refer the things. And then DPI, dry powder inhalers, which are very largely, very widely used for by the asthmatic patients. Okay, we have mentioned by the Exebra for taking the insulin. Dry powder inhalers are being practiced and they have been approved by the US FDA. Aerosols may be evaluated when we are talking about the evaluation for flammability, combustibility, physicochemical properties and performance, and then therapeutic activity. So as far as the performance part is concerned, please do remember those four the official parameters and remember them verbatim, especially with respect to the acceptance criteria. You must study all these official tests for each type of inhalers. We have mentioned only one, and in the same way you can refer these other two from the official books, United States Pharmacopoeia, and sampling procedure is almost common for all these kind of aerosols for evaluation parameters. So this is over from our side. Now it's your turn to remember the things, do practice, and keep learning. We'll be coming back with more modules, with more lectures on novel delivery systems after this. Thank you for being with us. Happy learning.